refusing to let Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden receive Holy Communion because of his support for abortion. Welcome to A Spirited Debate. I'm Lauren Green. It happened at a church in Florence, South Carolina. Communion is a sacrament central to Catholicism. In a statement, the Reverend Robert E. Morey said, any public figure who advocates for abortion places himself or herself outside of church teaching. I will keep Mr. Biden in my prayers. Now, Biden was asked about it during a radio interview. He said it's personal, but defended himself as a good Catholic. And this is also not the first time Biden has been denied communion. Is it something that will hurt him politically as he strives to be the Democratic presidential nominee? Well, here to debate is Chris Hale, former Obama faith advisor, and Father Frank Pavone, founder and national director of Priests for Life. Welcome to you both.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Well, Father Pavone, let me start with you, because you wrote an open letter to Biden, actually in September, urging him to live by his faith. And so what's more of the gist of that letter, and why did you write it?
Well, I've written it to various public officials, including some years ago to Nancy Pelosi. And the basic point I'm making is that it's not just that it's against the Catholic faith, which they both claim to embrace. It's against the very meaning of public service, because we are talking about the killing of a human being. And the tens of millions of Americans are trying to live out their faith by saying we have to protect the unborn. And then they're seeing public officials claiming to want to have the benefit of being known as a Catholic and not defending the unborn. Remember, the teaching about abortion is not just about what we think about it. It's about what we do to protect these children. So we're writing this letter as an expression of the concern of so many people who are making a lot of sacrifices every day, including politically in their own sphere of life, to live out the faith. And they want to see everybody else who claims themselves to be Catholic to be making those same sacrifices.
Okay, I want to get to Chris right now, because, Chris, you are Catholic. And you are pro-life, but the priest cited church canon law for refusing to give Biden communion. But there's at least one cardinal who said this sort of weaponizing of the sacraments doesn't accomplish anything and does more harm than good. What do you say to that? Do you kind of agree or not agree?
No, on March 19, 2013, Pope Francis was inaugurated, the Bishop of Rome. At his invitation, Joseph Biden and Nancy Pelosi both received communion. Look, Pope Francis says it so beautifully. The Eucharist is not a prize for the perfect, but medicine for the sick. Jesus of Nazareth himself was put to death on a cross by the Roman authorities because he had the audacity to break bread with people who were outside of the tradition, the law. To me, we as a faith community need to bring people in. Acts of exclusion, I think, are political. I don't think they helped. I don't think this in any way helped Joe Biden be a better Catholic. I think we should do what we can to bring people into the faith community. And it's politicizing and weaponizing the source and the summit of the Christian life. So I'm against it.
Okay, Father Frank, clearly Biden knows his Catholic constituency, many of whom are okay with abortion and many things the church stands against. So is he winning the Catholic cultural war, especially when Pope Francis himself offers him communion?
Well, we're dealing in a context here where there is a very, very big blind spot, I think we can all agree, about what an abortion is in the first place. I mean, if we had, the question here is scandal and confusion. The Eucharist is not supposed to be used as a weapon. It's not even a judgment on Mr. Biden and the state of his soul or his relationship with God. That part of it, as he says, is personal. But we're talking about a dimension here that's public, and the question becomes, in an age where there is so much confusion about abortion, will the action of giving him communion publicly, when people know where he stands on abortion, confuse some people, the very people that we want to welcome into the church and attract to the church because of the beauty and the clarity of her teaching and her stand for the most vulnerable being the unborn? There's confusion out there. And so will giving a person sacrament which says, yes, you're in communion with the church and with God and with Christ, and who died for these babies as well as for the rest of us, does that cause confusion when they know, well, gee, the Pope knows it, we all know it, where these people stand on abortion? Why is it then okay for them to participate in this way? So refusing communion, and again, I don't go out saying, hey, let's just, refuse all these people communion. We're trying to pastorally guide them to an acceptance of the truth. But
Okay.
what we're concerned about here is the public prevention of confusion.
I want to get to Chris because we're running out of time. But Chris, what do you say? Because there is that aspect of it that he's causing other Catholics perhaps to be in confusion about what's really acceptable.
Here's the moral calculus that I think's wrong. Under Father Frank's worldview, a man who commits sexual abuse against a child and goes to confession can show up on Sunday and receive communion, but the Vice President of the United States, a father who lost 2 children, who lost a wife, cannot. And I do not accept that. I think that we need to have an openness, an inclusion, a faith that is for everyone, and that everyone can come in and receive the fullness of faith.
All right. I want to thank you so much, Father Frank Pavone and Chris Hale. Thanks so much for being on A Spirited Debate.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you both.
And for more news, go to foxnews.com. I'm Lauren Green. Thanks for watching.